Still have a- Good evening. The Montgomery Board Meeting for January 14th is now called to order. At this time, we'll have invocation by Reverend Renee Gibson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you first, foremost, and always for being God and God all by yourself. We thank you for being a gracious and loving Father. We thank you for the gift of children, for you've said that they are your good and perfect gift to us. We invite your presence into this meeting this evening. We ask that every comment, every thought, every vote, every decision be made with the best interests of children, Father. Father, we thank you again because they are a perfect gift, but we know that they are a gift that is in jeopardy. For we know that there's an enemy that seeks to steal and kill and rob them of their futures. So we thank you for the opportunity to stand in the gap for children. So, Father, we again ask that you would just allow your presence, allow your Holy Spirit, allow everything that is of you to fill this place. Touch every heart, every mind, every tongue, that everything we do will be done for the good of the boys and girls that you've entrusted to us as educators, as board members, as your people, and that all things will be done and pleasing in your sight. It's in the name that's above every name that I do pray. Let every heart say amen.
Thank you, Reverend Gibson. That was right on time. We appreciate that. At this time, we will also have the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you will stand, please. I pledge allegiance at this time. We do have a quorum. We will now approve the agenda. So is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Madam President, I make the motion to approve the agenda as printed.
I second it.
It has been moved and second. All those in favor, do so by a show of hands. It is unanimous. At this time, there will be board president remarks. And so I just want to start out by first thanking everyone for being here, and I'm glad we were able to make it through to 2025. And if you just will give me a second, having a little technical difficulties real quick. All right, not anymore. Um, well, let me start off by saying, first and foremost, um, as we enter into 2025, I started my year by watching movies. That's what I do with my family. And one of the movies that we watched was the all African American female troop 639. I may have the number wrong. 630, 6888. Everybody watched the movie too, but it was 6888. And what I loved about the movie was the mission. No matter what obstacles came in their way, the mission didn't change. There were obstacles because the movie was written during a time of segregation. And there were times when people didn't believe that people that looked like me and some of my colleagues on the board were capable of doing anything. But it didn't deter them because they stuck to the mission. And the thing that I got from that, as I started to reflect on it, was that the mission never changes when you're doing good work. The mission stays the same because it keeps you organized and it keeps you structured because the mission never changes. So let me again say good evening. I want to wish each and every one of you a happy new year. And to remember, as a board, as central office staff, administrators, and teachers, the mission for children should never change. I hope that everyone enjoyed their holiday break and had a time to reflect with those that mean the most to them. As we start the year of 2025, we have several exciting things happening in our district as we are planning for as we have planned for this upcoming year. Tonight, I'll share with everyone the current status of our superintendent search led by the company HYA. Considerable and strategic planning is underway to ensure MPS we hire the best leader for our district. Also, I would like to give a huge congratulations to Flowers Elementary and Dalrata Elementary. I do know that Flowers is in our board member, Mrs. Pamela Portis district, and Dalrata is in Dr. Brenda DeRamus Coleman's district. So those are true accolades and something to be proud of. They received the level one certification in the prestigious Marzano High Reliability Schools program. Let's give them a hand. This remarkable achievement is a testament to both schools' unwavering commitment to creating a positive, supportive environment where every student has the opportunity to succeed. Congratulations, Principal Tori Enfinger and Dr. Cutter and the entire Flowers and Dalrata School communities, teachers, and everyone that helped them to achieve this milestone for reaching this significant, prestigious award. Also, we're celebrating School Board Members Recognition Month this month. It is my honor to work alongside all of my colleagues, and I'm proud of the work that we're doing and the work we plan to do for the students, families, and community in Montgomery, Alabama. Thank you. Again, Happy New Year to each and every one of you. I hope that you made some goals and that you have a mission in your life. But at this time, I'll turn it over to Ms. Jade Jones for our board recognitions.
Good evening, Madam President, Ms. Wilson, and board members. First, let me just say Happy New Year to all of you. It's always my deepest pleasure to bring you all a set of recognitions that highlight just a fraction of what is happening in our district. We have so many amazing things going on, and I wish we had more time to highlight everything. But for now, we'll start with a public announcement congratulating all of the Carver Elementary Spelling Bee participants. Now, last week, I had the honor to witness several elementary students to compete in this spelling bee. And let me share this. Some of those words were so hard, Madam President, but our students went nearly 15 rounds before Mr. Princeton Lewis, a fourth grader, took the championship trophy. Now, Miss Grace Souls, who is also a fourth grader, came in second place, and then Mr. Carter Lamar came in third place. Let's give them a round of applause. Ms. Portis, I have to share this with you. Michael Burdell judged the competition, and he said that was the longest spelling bee he ever had. Next up, we're so proud to announce that Bear Elementary and Forest Avenue were named in the top 25 performing schools list for the state of Alabama. The State Department will officially recognize these schools at its official board meeting, but tonight we have the pleasure of having the Dr. Nina Williams and Mrs. Brandy Moody to just share a few words about their amazing schools. Let's welcome them up. We'll start with Ms. Moody and then move over to Dr. Nina Williams.
Good evening, everybody. It is my pleasure to be in this capacity as principal of Forest Avenue. I've worked alongside so many other leaders who've showed me how to be an instructional leader and lead the school. But all the gratitude and praise goes to the teachers who were there all last year. They have worked tirelessly and just so hard to achieve this goal. They come in, day out, weekends, and they just work for what's best of the students. We started our year off with faculty meeting on Monday with 2 words that's going to guide us this year. It's gratitude and Thanksgiving. So we are gratitude for everything, and in all things we give thanks. And so we're thankful for each other. We're thankful for our students, for our parents, and for our community and our district that we serve. So just know we are working really hard. Our theme this year is Other Places You'll Go, and we are really off to a great place at Forest Avenue, and it's a privilege to serve.
Good evening to our board members and our leading superintendent and our former superintendent as well. I'm grateful for this opportunity. I am a newbie in Montgomery. This is my 3rd year, but I'm very grateful to stand here and to represent our faculty. I am probably in the lowest position because all of the work truly goes to our staff members who have embraced the vision, and that is to provide the absolute best education to all students that enter our door, but more importantly, not to just function in an isolation, but to even extend what we're providing in our doors to our colleagues that are in traditional schools as well. So I am excited to celebrate with you all and my colleague as well and bring truly a spotlight to MPS for all the great things that we're doing, and truly the best is yet to come, and there's no place like there.
We want to thank them so much for coming out tonight. I know that both of them have open houses at their school, so they will excuse them, but we thank you all so much. Last, but certainly not least, Mrs. Smith announced the month of January is School Board Members Recognition Month. And we here at MPS would like to thank all 7 of you for your leadership and dedication to the system and community. Now, tonight, we'd like to share a certificate of appreciation with each of you. As I call your name, please come down to the front to receive your certificate, and please stay there for a photo. All right, up first we have Mrs. Claudia Mitchell. Pleasure, pleasure. Just go to the front. Miss Pamela Cloud. Miss Cassandra Brown. Dr. Coleman. Dr. Lisa Keith. Miss Pamela Portis. And our board president, Miss Erica Smith. Let's give them all a round of applause. We thank you all so much. And I would just like to make a shameless plug there. The certificates that they are holding was printed in our in-house print shop right here at MPS. Look at the design. Sorry. All right. Yes, ma'am, y'all did. Ms. Cloud would like to thank Park Crossing for putting her picture on the billboard for recognizing her as the school board member. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Park Crossing. The leader there is Ms. Cheryl Fountain. Madam President, if I may have a point of privilege, please, ma'am. It is with a mix of gratitude and excitement that I stand here before you today to celebrate the journey of an exceptional team member, Miss Robrisha Singleton. About 2.5 years ago, I posted a job for an administrative assistant. Little did I know that not only would I gain an administrative assistant, but a forever work friend that has inspired me to always reach for the top and to keep students first. There was a short but long period of time where it was just me and Miss Singleton keeping the ball rolling in the comms department. There are not enough words to share with you, all to explain how Ms. Singleton has impacted our office. She has been an integral part of our communications team, playing a vital role in supporting this board's mission to create a thriving educational environment for our students and community. Her work has gone beyond delivering messages. It has helped foster understanding, collaboration, and trust. But tonight, I am so proud to share that Ms. Singleton is going on to accomplish a goal she quietly whispered to me just 2 years ago. She is going on to be a treasure in the world and will work as a classroom teacher at Carver Elementary. As she steps into the classroom, I know she'll bring the same passion, creativity, and commitment that has made her such a valuable member of our team. Her ability to connect with people, share ideas, and foster growth would undoubtedly make her an incredible educator and a proud influence on the lives of the future of our students. I won't call Robrisha up because she has demanded that I don't even do this. But Robrisha, we thank you and we congratulate you. And you'll never know how proud I am for you accomplishing that goal that you whispered to me just 2 years ago. Go and do great things at Carver Elementary. Thank you, Madam President.
Rabrisha, know that you'll just be a phone call away. I know. I'll tell her for you. At this time, we have no citizen comments. We do have scheduled comments at this time. So before I call Ms. Charbonneau to the podium, I will read the rules and procedures for public participation in board meetings. Requests must be made in advance in writing to the superintendent's office by 4:30 on the Tuesday before the meeting date. Requests must have specified the nature of the business to be taken up with the board and the name of the person who will address the board to be added to the agenda. Communications must be respectful. Discussing specific student or employee matters will not be allowed. Individuals who have concerns that are inappropriate to be solved in this venue are welcome to seek a problem-solving meeting with the superintendent. Immediate feedback by the board may not be provided. However, you may be contacted for follow-up by the superintendent or designee. Public comments may not exceed 3 minutes. The board chair has the full authority to terminate the remarks of any person whose comments contain personal attacks, exceed the time limit, or are otherwise inappropriate. A speaker may be considered disruptive who continues to speak when their allotted time has ended. When asked to stop speaking by the board chairman or is otherwise inappropriate. If a person fails to comply when asked to terminate comments, he or she will be escorted to their seat, out of the auditorium, and or off of MPS property, depending on the level of disruption. At this time, Ms. Charbonneau, if you will.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was off. Was my voice carrying anyway? Good evening, and thank you for letting me take a few minutes out of this board meeting's time. I am Jean Charbonneau, for those I don't know personally, and I am the president of the FAME board, and we support BTW Magnet High School. Tonight, I have the honor of speaking on behalf of two extraordinary individuals who embody the spirit of excellence that defines Booker T. Washington Magnet High School. As we look to the future, we also honor the past. The Bell Road campus, with its new facilities, holds great promise for the students of Montgomery. And within this campus lies a decommissioned chapel, ready to be transformed into a vibrant space for learning, meeting, and performing. It is fitting that this space should carry the name of two remarkable leaders who have left an indelible mark on the school and on our community. I propose we name it the Carter Starks Center in honor of Dr. Cheryl G. Carter and Dr. Quasia S. Starks. Dr. Cheryl G. Carter was a trailblazer. She wrote the initial grant that founded the Carver Creative Performing Arts Center, the seed that grew into BTW. She secured funding and expanded our magnet programs, developed innovative curricula, and lobbied tirelessly to ensure that our students had access to the resources they needed. Dr. Carter's leadership wasn't confined to the walls of the school. She led nationally as president of the Art School Network and served our community as executive director of Leadership Montgomery. Her vision and dedication laid the foundation upon which BTW's legacy of excellence was built. Dr. Quasia Starks took that foundation and built upon it, lifting BTW to even greater heights. For 20 years, she led the school with determination, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to her students. Under her leadership, BTW became a nationally recognized institution, celebrated for its academic and artistic achievements. When a devastating fire struck the school, Dr. Starks didn't falter. She was instrumental in the rebuilding, bringing BTW back stronger than before. She nurtured the arts, fostered innovation, and inspired students to reach their potential. Through her leadership, BTW became a beacon of hope and possibility. The Carter Stark Center will stand as a testament to their shared vision and enduring legacy. It will be a place where students learn, collaborate, and create, where they discover that excellence isn't just something you aspire to, it is something you achieve when you work hard, dream big, and lift others along the way. So tonight, I ask you to honor these two exceptional leaders. Let's recognize their contributions, not just with words, but with a lasting symbol that will inspire generations to come. The Carter Stark Center is more than a name. It's a promise to carry forward the values they championed and the dreams they made possible.
Thank you, Ms. Charbonneau, just on time.
I practiced.
Thank you.
I know the rules.
Thank you so much. At this time, again, there are no citizen comments. We do have Dr. LaShonda Moore, who will present to us the Bar Center contract. Good evening.
Can everyone hear me now? To Madam President, Ms. Wilson, and the board members. Addressing a student's social and emotional needs is crucial before they can reach their full potential in academic and other achievement areas. When students develop social emotional competencies, they are better equipped to manage their emotions, build healthy relationships, and make responsible decisions. Therefore, I'm asking you to approve the $80,000 contract from the State Department to pilot the BAR program in our school. Ms. Martin, the assistant principal, will give you a quick synopsis of how it will be implemented at Capitol Heights Middle School.
Good evening. At Capitol Heights Middle School, we are looking to accomplish 3 goals as they pertain to our culture and climate: increase parental involvement, decrease chronic absenteeism, and build student-parent-teacher relationships. These three things ultimately have the potential to impact both teacher retention as well as student achievement. As a result of us setting these goals, we have searched for strategies to enhance these much needed skills. And after participating in a rich professional development opportunity last school year and networking with other schools while there, we have seen the potential of the BAR model being able to meet the needs of our building. In understanding that there are limited funds available, we searched for grant opportunities that would allow the implementation of this model. Based on our needs assessment and connected data, we were approved to be funded to implement the BAR model by the Alabama State Department of Education. At Capitol Heights, we believe that great teaching begins with understanding each and every student as a learner and as a person. The BAR model will allow our staff to better understand and build on students' strengths, proactively address the non-academic reasons why a student may be falling behind in school, and identify what resources they need and steps they can take to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. Here, there's one.
This is a pilot program, and you all found this grant for your school?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, commendable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, hold on, just one second. I saw on the PowerPoint that you have an annual report. Will we, be able to, can you come back and discuss and as the pilot program and tell us what it did as far as, I'm really interested in how you, decreased or increased attendance at school.
Yes, ma'am.
So, will that be shared with us?
For sure. In addition to surveys that are provided with the overall program as well.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have Ms. Pamela Watkins, who will present to us the November 2024 fiscal statement for
Good evening, Madam President,
evening.
Superintendent Wilson, board members. You should have before you the November financials for fiscal year 2025. The financials, as usual, consist of the explanation of financial data, which is a statement and a highlight of the district's financial standing at the period that's being reported. You also have a snapshot analysis, which is a summarization of the district's financials, and we'll go through that shortly. We have the general fund balance recap, which is a breakdown of our actual general fund balance. Our monthly percentages, we're in the second month of November, which indicates that our revenue and expenditure should be approximately at 16.33%. Also included is a monthly and annual comparative statement of revenues and expenditures. This provides you with information of our current financials as of November and our year-to-date as of fiscal year 2025 compared with the same period in fiscal year 2024. Also is a statement of cash flow, which provides our current month financials and our year-to-date for the current fiscal year. The pie chart, which is a visual of the cash flow, and then our exhibits, which are our state financials that are uploaded to the state, provides us the financial reports that are on the state's website. Just briefly on our explanation of financial data, you'll see that, well, actually, on our general fund, you'll see that our, sorry, I think I hit the wrong thing here. We'll go to the snapshot analysis, I'm sorry, yes, right there. You'll see that our actual revenues that have come in as of year-to-date November are $39.5 million, approximately 39.6 actually. Our expenditures are $45.9 million, which is exactly 16% of budget, which is exactly where we want to be. You'll also see the comparison of our local revenues. Those numbers actually fluctuate. They're fairly close to last year at the same period in time. Those numbers do fluctuate slightly based on the timing and receipt of our ad valorem taxes. We also provide a comparison of our payroll expenditures as well as our general fund balance, and we do have approximately 23.8 or $23.9 million. Well, that's our 1 month fund balance. We have about 3.5 month fund balance right now. Our general fund balance is currently for the month of November $86.3 million. But of that amount, of course, as I previously remind you, those funds are actually, or some of those funds are actually tied to specific funding sources. For example, of the $86.4 million, 6.7 of it is actually transportation, meaning that those funds can only be expended for transportation. We have some other funds there, the governor's turnaround. Those funds can only be expended on the 3 schools that are currently turnaround schools. And then we also have some other funds, OSR, OMI, ARI, other state funding sources, which indicate that those funds can clearly only be expended on those funding sources, which leaves our discretionary local general funds at $73.5 million. In addition to our financials, just to kind of wrap up the highlights for our financials, one thing I want to mention to the board and to the public is that, or share with the board and the public, is that a couple of weeks ago, well, right before the Christmas break, the district participated in the S&P Global Credit Rating Review, and that's something that takes place maybe every 2 years. When I came to Montgomery, our rating was a triple B minus, and at the last rating, it was upgraded to a triple B plus. But this year, our rating was upgraded 3 notches to an A plus, which is considered huge for our district financially. Additionally, S&P Global removed the district from under criteria observation to a stable outlook. This significant achievement highlights the district's ongoing commitment to fiscal responsibility, sound financial management, and strategic planning. Such a notable accomplishment is a testament of the collaborative efforts of the school district, starting with the entire finance team, specifically our previous CSFO, Arthur Watts. He had a huge undertaking when he came to Montgomery Public Schools and made a lot of changes that really needed to happen financially. Personally, that provided me with the best mentoring experience in a financial position ever. District leadership, though tough, had to adhere to a lot of those changes during that time when funds were limited. To the board had to make some tough and unpopular decisions during that time as well. And then a final thank you to our public. The public trusted and supported the district with the voting and passing of the ad valorem. So our goal is to continue to make every effort to be good stewards of those public funds. Additionally, here is Chris Williams. Chris Williams represents our financial advisor, and he was a part of our credit review. Chris.
Thank you, Ms. Watkins. Good evening, board. My name again is Chris Williams. I'm with Rice Advisory, the financial municipal advisor to the board. A little history is we received an email from S&P on October 21st, and they were stated that it was time for a review. Katie Vasquez out of New York City was the lead analyst, and she wanted to do the review the following week. I got the email from staff at the board, and what I wanted to do is, with the rating agencies, you kind of want to spoon feed them information. And so what I had asked is if we could postpone that into December. I had actually tried to do it into 2025, but she said by their policies, they had to do it by year end. She was going to Mexico on the 18th for the remainder of the holiday season. So she said, by the 18th, we have to do it. So we had a Zoom call with Katie. It was me, Ms. Watkins, And Mr. Watts actually offered his time in case there were some questions from prior periods. We had a Zoom call with Katie. In the previous to the Zoom call, she had issued a probably 4 pages of questions that she wanted to go over on the call. Instead, what we did is we diligently answered all those questions, everyone she had asked prior to the call, and got those questions to her. So therefore, that shortens the call. So we had that call. I received a phone call from Katie on January 1st. Upon her return, she took her proposal to their committee. They have a larger committee. Katie does not make the individual decisions. They vote on it as a committee. The first thing she said is, "Chris, are you sitting down?" And I said, "Actually, I am." And she said, "I am proud to tell you that we have upgraded the board 3 notches from triple B plus to A plus." I know that's probably happened before with other issuers. I've never seen it in my 20 plus years in this business. She was very complimentary of what the board has done. She was very complimentary of Ms. Watkins, the thoroughness of her and her staff of providing the information prior to the call. Therefore, she did not have many additional questions while we had the call. So what does that mean? Okay, triple B plus is on the lower grade of the spectrum. Triple B minus, lower than triple B minus, is considered junk bonds, which carry a much higher interest rate. Going 3 notches from triple B plus to A plus does several things. One, it lowers your borrowing cost in your interest rate. 2, you get a better review or involvement from the bond insurers. A bond insurer will come in, you pay a premium, and then they insure your bonds, and then you keep your AA as a board, but the bonds are rated AA. So you keep your A plus, but the bonds are rated AA. That does another thing. There are funds that buy these bonds. A higher credit rating brings in more buyers because a lot of these buyers say, "We're not going to buy anything A or less." Well, when you get to an A plus, that brings in more buyers. What does that do? Creates competition. You might be selling a bond at, say, 4.25%, 4.25%, and you have a lot of people that want it. What do? You cut the rate. You might make it a 4.10, and you lose a couple of those buyers. You might get that down to a 4. So it does all of those things that benefits the borrowing capacity of the board in the municipal market. Any questions?
I have a
Any
comment.
questions? I will start with Dr. Keith and work our way around.
Okay, Mr. Chris Williams, I remember when y'all came on with us,
Yes.
and I was elated then, and I'm going to give kudos to the board because that's money well spent to go up that high. So I think y'all had a lot to do with that. And looking at this report, I'm pleased. But there is curiosity that I'm probably going to ask Ms. Watkins, and it was it's a little over 2 million difference in the fund from this year to last. And is that because, the ESSER funds left? What is because you go down and you see where 70% of the expenditures in the general fund is salaries. So my curiosity is, you may not be able to give me that answer, but I'd love to know how much of that percentage, what percentage of that 2 million was in the raises that were given, or is that not involved at all?
No, the beginning fund balance actually started approximately $2 million less. And if you remember, we set up reserves during the last fiscal year, and so that would have an effect as well on our beginning fund balance.
Right.
But the difference is in the beginning fund balance. As a matter of fact, when you look at our revenues and our expenditures, they are pretty much neck and neck. Our revenues are, compared to last year, there's a variance of about $600,000. The variance in expenditures from last year to this year are also the same, about a $600,000 variance. So the difference is clearly in the beginning fund balance. I had already kind of looked at that as well.
I
Yes,
was
ma'am.
just curious.
Oh, that's fine. Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
because we're still doing great,
Yes,
but there's
ma'am.
that 2 million that you have to go, what is that reason?
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
Ms. Cloud?
Yes. So you're saying that we have more negotiating power to get lower rates because of our score now at
Yes,
Standards and Poor's?
it's called an underlying rating when
Yes.
you have bond insurance, because
Yes.
the bond insurance is the double A. But in the market meltdown years ago, there's more credit involved with these bond buyers. They don't just look at who's insuring the bonds, so they like that underlying rating as well. So yes, it opens the door to more interested participants in the purchase of the bonds.
Thank you.
Are there any additional questions or comments? Well, here and I will like to just add a little blurb real quick. I was here for the triple B negative, so it's a really good feeling to be at the A. So thank you all and your staff for your hard work and due diligence in what you've done. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is our consent agenda. At this time, I'll defer to our interim superintendent.
Yes, Madam President, I recommend approval of the consent agenda, items A through D.
The superintendent has made a recommendation that we approve items A through D. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
It has been motioned and second. All those in favor of the superintendent's recommendation, do so by a show of hands. It is unanimous. Our next agenda item is consider for approval. Madam Interim Superintendent Wilson.
Madam President, I recommend consider for approval personnel report certified personnel.
The superintendent has made a recommendation that we approve item A, personnel report, certified personnel. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I make the motion that we approve certified personnel.
All right, there's a motion to accept personnel report, certified personnel. Is there a second? It has been moved and second. All those in favor do so by a show of hands. It is, if you will raise your hands again, I'm sorry for the count. It is 6-1, thank you. Got the math person right here. All right, next agenda item, B, Madam President. I'm sorry, Madam Interim Superintendent.
Madam President, I recommend consider for approval personnel report classified personnel.
The superintendent has made a recommendation that we approve personnel report, classified personnel. Is there a motion?
I make the motion that we approve the classified personnel as recommended by the interim superintendent.
There's a motion. Is there a
I
second?
second it.
It has been moved and second. All those in favor do so by a show of hands. It is unanimous. Madam Interim Superintendent.
Madam President, I recommend consider for approval personnel report classified personnel addendum.
The interim superintendent has made a motion to approve the personnel report classified personnel addendum. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for the personnel report classified personnel addendum.
Is there a second?
I second.
It has been moved and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Uh, The personnel, thank you, the personnel report, classified personnel addendum has been recommended by the superintendent. All those in favor do so by a show of hands. All right, it is unanimous. Next item on the agenda, Madam Interim Superintendent.
Madam President, I recommend consider for approval personnel report teams.
There has been a recommendation by the superintendent to approve personnel report teams. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for personnel report teams.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I second it.
It has been moved and second. All those in favor do so by a show of hands. It is unanimous. All right, this meeting is now adjourned. All right, we are now calling to order the Montgomery County Board of Education January 14, 2025 work session. At this time, we have a quorum. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? A motion to approve the agenda.
I would like to make the motion to approve the agenda as printed.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor do so by a show of hands. It is unanimous. All right, number 4, receive as information. We have Mr. Glenn Slater with Volker. If you would come at this time.
Madam President, members of the board, Interim Superintendent, Ms. Wilson, Happy New Year. Glad to be here. This is our January update. We had a lot of foul weather and holidays since the last time we were here, so there was some activity, but not as much as we normally have. Our active projects are currently the South Lawn Middle School, new gymnasium, the Park Crossing High School field house, and the Todd Road relocation for the Percy Julian High School. This is the rendering of the South Lawn Middle School project that you've seen before. Overall project's about 60%. We're having a little glitch right now with the roofing systems. We've got some difference in how the architect and the contractor are interpreting things, but we're working through it, and we're going to make sure that the roof is done properly. This is a view from Mobile Highway. The windows, you'll see here that the brick is coming up to right here will actually, from like the rendering showed, will resemble basketballs or volleyballs that'll be there. This is inside the gym with the ductwork installed. They're actually covering the ends of the duct to keep the dust out of it. Another view of the interior weight room, roughing in with the electrical and the plumbing and such. Here's our rendering of the Park Crossing High School Athletic Field House. We're overall about 80% at this time. Bricks are going up well. The windows were delivered today. They're expected to start installing them tomorrow. When I was looking at this photo on my computer, and it was much bigger in my face at that time, that this far away, it doesn't give it justice of what it is at that point. If you get a chance to ride by, you can really tell how well this is blending in with the existing school. It's going to match very nicely. Brick at the entrance there is going well. This is the inside of the weight room. They started in with the ductwork here as well. The Percy Julian Phase 1, which is the Todd Road relocation, it's been pretty muddy out there for the past couple of weeks. Got a new concrete flume ditch that's running right alongside of the property line on the north. Here's some underground storm drainage that they've put in under the new road that will be draining into our water feature that will be in front of the school at the end of the project. We have 6 general contractors pre-qualified to bid for the new high school project. We've got a pre-bid conference will be coming up soon. I'm meeting with the architect in the morning, and I hope Mr. Anderson is available then as well, and we'll discuss the actual date that'll work for everybody for the pre-bid, as well as the bid opening that we moved it to toward the end of February, because architect need a little bit extra time to get the drawings really cleaned up, and we can't be mobilized on it really until the road work is done anyway. So we anticipate the construction to start April, May at the latest. That concludes my update. Do we have any questions?
Are there any questions at this time? Ms. Brown?
Just want to know, is there going to be any deep delays with South Lawn? When you say that there was some discussion or misinterpretation between.
Well, yes, ma'am. There's a little misinterpretation on the installation of the roof, but we're working through it with the architect and the contractor, and it's not going to slow it up too much. I mean, the project. I believe the contract date on it, I have to look back, but I think it's April right now. It may even be May on it before it's scheduled to be finished. So it'll be toward the end of the school year anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? All right, hearing
Thank you.
none. I'm sorry, hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Slater. Our next report will come from Mr. Chad Anderson with our facilities update.
Good evening, Ms. Wilson, Ms. Watkins-Smith, Ms. Portis, and members of the board. I'd like to give a little context on the roof there. The roof, we met with them last week during the OAC. The big thing there is making sure that the warranties, that the way that they have designed it to put on, that the warranty will be upheld with that. So we want to make sure there's enough ventilation underneath the sheathing and all that'll go on top of the decking, so that it doesn't cook the roof like we've seen things happen in some of those places. So just want to make sure we take our time on something as critical as that, and we're only talking maybe a week or two to get that in place. But it should not, that's not a big roof system, so they'll be able to move on that pretty quickly with that. So it's moving, picking up well. We just need this weather to hold off. We had to slow down on the brick because of the cold and the wet. That's why they were kind of at a stopping point last week when we were there. But hopefully it dries out and stays dried out for a little while, and we can get going on that. But it's really picked up steam over there. So yeah, it's coming along. It's going to be a nice piece for that school and something for the district there as well that we can hang our hat on for sure. You've heard from on the spreadsheet. You've heard from the projects that Volkert is working on. One addition to that is we have fully completed the Carver renovation. I think they mentioned it last time. Volkert did. I want to make sure I reiterate that. All the insides and everything, the substantial completion and all the punch list items have been completed on that. So it'll be coming off your weekly reports and this report as well. The Morning View and Davis Elementary got an update on that last week after I'd submitted the report. The engineer is wrapping up his pieces. Davis is a little bit further along than Morning View on its design, but we do anticipate having that out for advertisement by the end of this month, and be starting on that shortly thereafter once we get the bids back on those. So we're excited to get those projects done. And then again, I know it's been a while and this has been going on. It's going to mimic kind of what the project we did at Goodwin with windows and HVAC. So it'll give some of that same kind of look to the front of it and really dress up and clean up the front of those buildings. And that's kind of our goal, is to standardize that look so that we can carry it forward. And then also from the maintenance and upkeep of things, that we'll be able to keep something kind of similar, so we're not having to do everything so specialized at each one of those. The operations security HVAC replacement, this was a small project. Did not take them but about 3 to 4 weeks to complete, and it is complete. We've received substantial completion from the state on that as well. One bit of bad news, I shared it in the weekly update, but our electric bus grant, we received word just before the Christmas break that the group that the state had recommended us use, Lion Bus Electric, they have filed for bankruptcy and some issues there. We've been trying to contact the representative that we were working with that told us everything was in line and our buses were being manufactured, and that person no longer works for them. So we've reached out to the state and the different entities about trying to move that EPA grant to International, which is our typical bus manufacturer that we use in the district, to move that to them to be able to process and keep moving forward. We won't stop until we get this completed, and that it is our goal to have that, but we'll stay on top of it and get it done as quickly as possible with that. The BTW Chapel and Athletic Storage renovation, Ms. Charbonneau eloquently put some things into there. We're almost complete with that. We had a few windows and a door that were kind of a special item order, and we've been waiting on those to kind of wrap up that piece of it, but we have received substantial completion on it. Just got a few punch list items. I will be redoing the floor once they're kind of out of there, the contractor's out of there, and then that facility should be up and ready to go. Our team, our HVAC team with the district, replaced the HVAC that goes with that building and redid that. So we've got a fully renovated and nice space on the inside. We'll be on the inside and outside, and it'll be a great space for multitude of different things, because it's a good 3,000 to 4,000 square foot facility that will give us a lot of opportunity and options of things, with whether it be classes or different events that will be held in that as well, with great acoustics. The park crossing turf and track replacement, the pre-construction meeting is scheduled for in the morning, and we'll be starting on that immediately thereafter. Again, like I've said in previous meetings, we've been working with the school to make plans to shift some things around as far as their track and soccer season, to be able to make sure we can accommodate those sports. I know it'll be an inconvenience at this point, but that track was at a just detrimental area or stage of functioning, and it really needed to be replaced. So we're glad to get that going and get that started. And I'll skip down to the Carver High School track and replacement because they kind of coincide. We've got the civil engineer working on that. Well, I'll be meeting with them tomorrow afternoon to go over some of the final little checks on that, to make sure that we're, again, standardizing these things as we go along. And we'll have that advertised out shortly thereafter, once they complete their final pieces of it and submit it to the state. And then the last piece there, the Bellingrath emergency roof replacement, we were planning on starting yesterday, but due to the weather, they held off until today to get started on that. And that job will be underway here for some time, and I'll be able to give you some more updates as we go along through the weeks.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions? I do have one. For the tracks
Yes, ma'am.
at Park Crossing and Carver, will they be competitive tracks, or are you
Yes,
going to
ma'am.
expand them?
They're already set up to be competitive tracks. They're 8-lane tracks, so we'll be able to hold competitions there. It's basically what I've told the different groups that have been helping us with these is I want to be able to hold competitions there. We're not trying to hold the Olympics. We're not trying to spend that kind of money, but we want to have something that's functional, that we can have sanctioned events at our schools, and give our places, not only as our high schools, but right now as our middle schools need some places to go as well for regular season track events. and all. So it's going to give us a good foothold to start with.
Thank you for that. I'm
Yes, ma'am.
sure a lot of track runners will be excited.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, thank you, Mr. Anderson. Next on our list is Ms. J. Jones with the school calendar of 2025-2026.
Madam President, we actually have some updated copies of the calendar. It was brought to my attention that you all may have received our planning document. We sincerely apologize for that, Ms. Wilson. That was just a slight overlook. As you all can see, we have some transition in the office, and that's my fault. But if I can bring this up to you, and then we'll go through the document together. Thank you, Attorney Powell. You all should have two documents in front of you for the 2025-2026 proposed calendar. Again, it's important that we note that this is just a draft. Everyone has a copy? Okay, very good. The second page there, you'll see the explanations. It's important that we note that July 30th through August 4th, those days are reserved for teacher PD days. Again, this is just a draft. So those are a total of 4 days there. It's important that I note that the district will provide 7 PD days for teachers, giving them a total contract of 187 days. And as we know, our students operate on a 180-day schedule. And Madam President, tonight, Ms. Hart will have a cleanup document for you all to have, okay? All righty. So again, you all follow me there, July 30th through August 4th. So that's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And that Monday, that is 4 days. And that is dedicated to teacher PD. First day of school for students is proposed for August 5th. As we know, September 1 is Labor Day. All offices and schools are closed. October 13th, we have Indigenous Peoples Day. Students and teachers are off. Madam President, October 24th is our asynchronous learning day. That's a virtual learning day. That means that teachers report to the building, but students are virtual learners that day. It's important to note that Veterans Day, it falls within the week. We can't do anything about that's one of the holidays by law we have to take. So when it falls in a week like that, we know, but we have to take it off. So everyone is off. The whole district is closed. Okay. And then the 24th through the 28th, the students and teachers will enjoy a full break of Thanksgiving. If you'll flip on the back of your explanation notes, I did take a page out of Ms. Tracy Williams, our assessment director, who's wonderful, by making sure that I counted the days for you all so that you can add them up. And then semester 1 is a total of 90 days. I know that sounds a lot, but when we get through semester 2, you'll see why I brought that up. Does that make sense? So I broke out August, September, October, November, December, and I noted each set of days for students, just so you can easily add those up to the 180 days for students. Okay. And we'll go over to second semester. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I skipped over December. December 19th, that will be a PD day for teachers, and students will not come in that day. So they'll be out on the 18th. That's when Christmas break starts for the students. Okay? All righty. Then we'll come back into the new year, and our teachers, we always like to give them that first day back, to have to come in and prepare the classrooms for the students. So January 5th, 2026 is a PD day for teachers. Everybody with me still? Okay. All righty, then we'll go over to February this year, or excuse me, in 2026. President's Day is on the 16th, and we were able to have students and teachers off that day. Now, Madam President, we have spring break. I know everyone's probably at home waiting on me to say this one, but spring break, we have it proposed for the third week in March. Now, we will have this calendar sit out with the public, and parent groups, different focus groups will come together and give us our feedback that we need for this calendar. But we did receive a lot of feedback from last year's calendar. It was kind of half and half. Many people like that third week in March. So we did propose it. But I just want the public to understand that this does have to sit out in the community. We like to do it for 30 days and get that feedback. And we do have focus groups to also help us guide us in our planning. Okay? So that is the third week of March. That's the 16th through the 20th. Teachers and students are off for that full week. Now, I have a special note for April 24th. That is an asynchronous day for students. That means that they're virtual learners. Teachers will report, but that can easily be moved to April 3rd should the public want to consider that. I just made a light note that that is Good Friday. Certainly, the feedback will consider that. Okay? And then to wrap up, May 20th would be the last day for our students. And then May 21st would be the last day for teachers. And that, of course, is the 7th PD day. And then second semester came out to 90 days as well. So since I've been doing the calendar, I've never seen it, Dr. Williamson, where it's 90 and 90. So it's 180 days right down the middle. Okay? That's the draft calendar, Madam President. You all will receive a clean copy tonight. And then tomorrow morning for the public, the survey link and the calendar will be open for feedback. Okay?
All right, thank you, Ms. Jones.
Yes, ma'am.
Our next agenda item will come from Mr. Jimmy Baker, Turnaround Schools Retention Bonuses.
Good evening, Board President, Superintendent Wilson, and board members. I'm Jimmy Baker, Principal of Chisholm Elementary School, and on behalf of all Turnaround Schools, I would like to share with you our presentation for the proposed Turnaround Schools Retention Bonus. So the purpose of this bonus is to encourage teachers and staff to continue employment at Chisholm, Dozier, and Highland Gardens Elementary Schools for the 25-26 school year. Retaining teachers and staff can be a challenge, and so this plan would combat turnover rates and help with retaining valuable employees. And so the funding source for this plan would be turnaround funds. This is not an ongoing incentive. It is only available for the designated years and or duration of the available turnaround funds. And so we could have that budget available upon your request if you would need to see it. So here's the action plan for the retention bonus. A $1,000 bonus will be available for teachers and staff who hold a bachelor's degree, including those who are enrolled in an Alabama-approved teacher preparation program. It will be $1,500 for teachers, staff, and assistant principals who hold a master's degree, with $2,000 for teachers, staff, and assistant principals who hold a higher degree, including EDS, doctorates, or national board certification, and then a $500 for those who are classified staff members. For disbursement procedures, upon the board approval, retention bonuses will be provided for qualified candidates who will be returning for the 25-26 school year. And so the commitment for the 25-26 school year would include teachers and staff, as well as assistant principals accepting the retention bonus would need to commit in writing to a minimum of the 25-26 school year at their respective schools, which again would be Chisholm, Highland Gardens, and Dozier Elementary. So eligibility criteria includes new candidates must complete the MPS onboarding process and be MPS board approved. Existing candidates must be eligible to continue employment, not receiving a non-renewal letter. And so an example would be the MPS policy and procedures manual. They must be in good standing with that. So duration, procedures, or disbursement continued. This would be taxable income and disbursement. So the retention bonus is considered taxable income. The retention bonus payment is made upon acknowledgement of a 25-26 school year written commitment. Deductions and resignations. If a candidate does not fulfill the 25-26 school year commitment, the retention bonus would be deducted from their final paycheck, 100% of that retention bonus. For terminations, if an eligible candidate is terminated for any reason, the retention bonus will be deducted from their final paycheck in the amount of 100%. So that concludes the presentation of the plan. Are there any questions at this time?
Are there any questions? Hearing none? Oh, there's one. Dr.
I was
Keaton.
waiting. I was just going to wait. It's just, I'm going to be Scrooge.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'm just, it's concerns. And I'm all about bonuses, studied bonuses. I believe in bonuses, okay? But, and I'm going to show my ignorance here. Are those 3 schools failing schools?
They are.
Okay, that's what I thought that. I guess I wanted to confirm it. And my problem with that is we just gave it, y'all just got a raise this year, 2%. And it goes along with my question that I asked earlier when you're seeing that the funds deal with salaries. And I've said this every time we have a meeting and it looks like we have, I'm not seeing where we're getting new textbooks. I'm not seeing where we're getting new desks. I'm still visiting schools that have the ceilings coming down, and I know that deals with capital funds, but here's my problem. Typically, when you give bonuses, there's something given back. I want to retain teachers. When we have 400 emergency certified teachers right now, we're missing teachers. But I think it's something that should be discussed among board members as to, it takes two. We can just keep flooding money out every day. We can bonus this, and you're the first to stand up there and discuss a bonus and do a PowerPoint, which I'm pleased, that you did that, other than Aronde Mitchell. But when you keep going on and we bonus, and then we're hearing people saying, well, the salaries were targeted, only the people that I think we've got to sit down as a board and get more information, and part of that information needs to go, maybe in that policy or whatever we do, is when y'all show even a small percentage of growth, even if you're still a failing school, what do we here as a board that even though it's an incentive to keep you, do we want to keep you? Do we want to really keep you? Are you teaching our students? Why are we a failing school? I just think we need to look deeper into the issue. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Keith. We have Ms. Claudia Mitchell who would like to speak.
Question, if I'm not mistaken, isn't this a program that was given by the governor? And the funds are already there and available. And as a school system, we either apply and use the funds for our students, or we let them go back and go to waste. So what we're here today, if I'm not mistaken, is to approve the funds from the governor's turnaround program. It's not a decision, for us to make.
Also, can I add, Ms. Mitchell, that it is for receive as information? So there's no board action
At all.
today. He is presenting and providing you information. Turnaround funds have been provided to us through the governor's office, Governor Ivy. And I want to say there are quite a few turnaround schools who are also participating in retention bonus. We did work with all of the coordinators in the turnaround program from the state level on this retention bonus. So this is just receive as information. And of course, we'll go back and meet and discuss some of the things that you shared and some ways that we can continue to support our staff while also having some maybe additional criteria if we see fit. And then we'll come back to you next month with the final to vote.
Madam President, please don't think I'm being a
Lisa,
Scrooge.
Lisa, let me
No.
get Ms.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was my question. Where does this money come from? And I agree, and this money, it's not a lot of money, it's a small bag of groceries at Publix, but you have to, we buy program after program, and I like what Dr. Keith said, as a board, we have to start thinking about how we get this information back. Because if this works for some, it may work for all. But we've got to keep good data, we've got to look at our numbers and know how to help. But I'm glad to see that it's something for people, because we buy all these programs. Teachers can't do but so much. We need some people to stay and work some of this stuff. So I think you'll do really, really great. I've been meaning to come see you too. You're doing great.
Come see
But any way we can help, just let us know and we will discuss it and see what we need out of this program. And who knows, next time they may give us $100,000.
Thank you, Ms. Borders. Ms. Keith, Dr. Keith.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Our next agenda item is the time clock policy amendment presented by Ms. Pamela Watkins.
Good evening again. I want to bring before you an amendment to our time clock policy and guidelines for our employees. As you are aware, in June, the district voted to move forward with the implementation of an electronic timekeeping system and voted on employee timekeeping guidelines and policies for employees. As with all things new, there have been hiccups along the way that we continue to address. We continue to collaborate with other large districts that implemented this electronic process 5 to 10 years ago and make appropriate adjustments along the way. With that, today, I'd like to recommend an amendment to the policy, and I'm going to read I just took the part from the page, and I'm going to read what we would like to do and explain that. The current policy reads that it is a job requirement that all employees, exempt and non-exempt, must clock in the morning when they begin work and clock out at the end of the day. All non-exempt employees are required to take daily lunch break. Non-exempt employees should not work off the clock. Under certain conditions, such as training and off-site location extracurricular activities, select employees may be allowed to report time worked through a mobile app or at the time they return to work the next day. A few of the changes that we've made along the way, we heard the employees with the time clock, so we set up the process for them to clock in from their computers if they do not clock in at the time clock machines that are at the entrance of all the buildings. So that was one of the changes that we made. And then there are some itinerant employees that can clock in via the mobile app. The amendment will read such as I'm about to read. It is a job requirement that all employees, exempt and non-exempt, must clock in the morning when they begin work. All non-exempt employees are required to take lunch break and clock out at the end of the day. Non-exempt employees should not work off the clock under certain conditions, such as training at an off-site location, extracurricular activities, etc. Select employees may be allowed to report time worked through mobile app or at the time that they return to work the next day. The additional part added to this paragraph would read, all exempt employees, teachers and administrators, are only required to clock in at the beginning of their workday to document attendance. Select employees will automatically be clocked out at the end of the day. So what goes along with that is that our non-exempt employees, which are our classified employees, have to clock in and out because of overtime laws and any additional hours that they can be and have to be paid for as it relates to the federal labor standard, the federal labor laws. With our exempt employees, those are our salaried employees. They're going to get paid their salary, the same salary, regardless of them clocking in at 8 and clocking in 2 or 3 hours afterwards. They're still going to be paid. Exempt employees do not earn overtime or additional pay unless they're working an extended day program. And so we thought that it would be helpful as we continue to look at this and to communicate with other districts. This was one of the things after comparing I communicated with at least 4 other school districts that took away the clock in and clock out for exempt employees. They have to clock in. Everyone has to clock in every day, just as if you were to manually log in when you or sign in before we had the time clock. But they will automatically be clocked out at the end of the day. Again, this would be for our teachers and administrative certified exempt personnel. And that's all I have for now. I'm sorry. But the policy would change to all exempt employees are only required to clock in at the beginning of their workday to document attendance. This will be very helpful for payroll. And when I say to document attendance, payroll, by the time the time clock information makes it to payroll, they have to know that the personnel were at work. Otherwise, if there's nothing documenting them on the clock, payroll has no documentation to pay the individuals. The same thing with the clocking in and out. If they don't clock in and out, that's what feeds over to payroll. And that's why it's so important for personnel to clock in, clock out at the end of the day, because all of that data, once it's approved, if they submit it with anything missing, when payroll gets it, they don't know any different, and they will pay based on what's in the system. Any questions?
Are there any questions? Hearing none. Thank you, Ms. Watkins. Our next presenter will be myself. At this time, I will be providing you the superintendent search update. All right. As part of the superintendent search process, the MPS board approved the superintendent search firm bid with HYA, a national education consulting firm, to carry out the superintendent search. The superintendent search process is anticipated to take about approximately 3 months. Updates requiring the superintendent search can be found on the MPS website under the menu option and then select superintendent search. The superintendent search will be conducted in 4 phases: the engage phase, select phase, recruitment phase, and transition phase. We are currently in the engagement phase, which will consist of engaging the board and community through interviews, surveys, as well as focus groups. Information from these interactions assists in developing a leadership profile and the selection criteria. As far as the survey phase, members of the community may participate in the surveys via a survey link that will be posted on the MPS website. The focus group phase will consist of a calendar of opportunities to participate in person, and virtual focus groups will also be published to the MPS website after these dates are solidified. The leadership phase profile will then be developed, which will include an engagement, which will include all engagement reports. From there, we will move on to the selection phase. Again, you are able to find the information and updates regarding the superintendent search by visiting the MPS website, and that is the update on the superintendent search. My next order of business will be committee updates. I do want to thank those who worked on committees last go around. This time we'll also be forming committees, and that information will be getting out to you about what types of committees the board will be engaging in. And if you all would look over that, it will have a description of what each of those committees are, and reach back out to me to let me know what committee you are interested in. The board will have a retreat January 17th through the 18th to work on transformational leadership, building board policies, as well as, and help me out, Ms. Portis, what was the first one? Let's see. Anybody can help me out, y'all. And, okay, and board governance, thank you. I had a little lapse of memory. It's been a long process. But we thank you all for coming out and joining us. There is also new business that, I'm sorry, because I was about to adjourn and I skipped one part. New business. I'm going to ask Ms. Cloud at this time if you would share with us your new business.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Wilson, I know that there were SREB walkthroughs for the high school. I would really, if you can include that in your board connection or give us the information as soon as possible, the name of the schools, the date of the walkthroughs, the team members, the specific areas of improvement opportunities, the specific areas of emerging success opportunities, and consistent success opportunities, what they have done. That's the first one. The second one is principal evaluation timelines and updates, and what their PLP process looks like, who's evaluating them, and the evidence, documentation, findings, and recommendations of effectiveness. Just give us a summary, please, because that's important for us to know. And then the last one is, I happened to run into schools PLP personnel, and I know that the executive directors were in a training to include student support and HR. Were the content specialists in that meeting? Because they're the ones that's going to help execute the school's PLP into these schools, because we only have 4 months to see how they do. I'm asking for a plan from each of those executive directors on how their piece works, so that it can be executed, that the children are getting what they need with schools PLP. And then, like I said, we only have 4 months to go. I want this to be successful. I know it's a turnaround. I know it's a turnaround time, but we're on a short line right now, and I want this to, I just don't want us to transition from Edgenuity Schools PLP without great effort in getting that in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cloud. At this time, we have Dr. Keith with new business.
The only thing I wanted to bring up, new business, was what I brought up probably every year I've been on the board, and it's the fact that we need supervisors. We have too many first-year teachers. We talked about retention. And like I said, I'm all about retention. I do want to get that out there. I didn't know the government had that out there. I just sort of like, to me, I just want to make sure that we're getting the bang for the buck that the government's giving us. So I say that. And when we said for years that we were going to do something about supervisors, I know we've got mentors, but we've got 400 certified, emergency certified, and if we could put back supervisors, in each of the, like, elementary, middle school, high school. I would hope that we could look into that, like, soon, like, so we can implement it hopefully next year.
Thank you, Dr. Keith. Our next order of new business will be with Ms. Portis.
Yes, I just have an update. For board members, I received an email from one of our contributors for the retreat. If you would check your email, and I'll make sure I send directions. Some of you have asked for directions for the retreat location, so I will send that to you. So please check your email.
And my last order of business is to correct myself. Our retreat will be on transformational leadership, board policy, and board goals. And we'll be reviewing those goals. And all of this will be provided to you in binders. All right. Our next board meeting is February the 11th, 2025. 5:00 p.m. is when the regular board meeting starts. Same room, room 1, training room 1. Also, immediately following, on the same date of February 11, 2025, will be the board's work session in training room 1. Are there any questions here? All right, this meeting is now adjourned.